Greetings, fellow Gothamites. Tiki here.
And BlueDragonFive.
And we're back to cover episode 8 of season 4 of Fox's retelling of the Dark Knight mythology, entitled Stop Hitting Yourself, Stop Hitting Yourself, Stop Hitting Yourself. So join us as we venture into Batman's birthplace.
And explore Gotham.
Man, oh man, Dragon, if we were wrong about anything in the last couple weeks worth of predictions, we were wrong about what the title of this episode meant.
Oh, yeah.
We were like, oh, Tommy Elliott. Tommy Elliott's a bully, right? Oh, boy.
To be fair, we amended that a little bit in the other episode. You know, again, we've had a lot of wrong predictions with it early in advance, though, so yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is Bruce Wayne and Tommy Elliott weren't even in the episode at all. That's kind of what made me chuckle in retrospect.
Sure.
All right, Dragon, but this was a very fun episode. I felt like it was a nice kind of self-contained episode. We got two storylines going on. We kind of got the Grundy of it all, and then we also have a more poignant kind of, sad sort of, continuation of Bullock and Gordon kind of being deconstructed, their relationship kind of drifting apart. So you want to jump right into it?
Sure.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so we see, and this is something that we probably want to hit when we're doing this, because in Gotham, it's been notorious for this at times, but Gotham, of course, time does pass, and I think it's important to note that so it doesn't get lost in the shuffle. So time has passed since the previous episode when we reach in this one, because we see Nygma and Grundy have carved like a little niche at Cherry's fighting ring in the Narrows. At this point, they've kind of done it a bunch of times, and they've gotten some leeway to the point where they have an opening act. So so time has definitely passed since we saw last episode.
Grundy has basically kind of become as popular as the Hulk was in Ragnarok.
Well, I mean that's really pop, but yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's not has 2 years haven't passed. But yeah, he's essentially. We have a warm-up act. Now, Tiki, you want to feel the warm-up act for the folks out there?
Oh, God. I'm not sure I can do it justice, Dragon, but I'll do my best. Okay, so basically we see a pathetic penguin on stage kind of doing his best Mario Falcone. He loves me. He loves me.
Okay. I like that he's using his experience with the pen. Basically, this is Nygma, of course, he's wearing a very he's wearing a makeshift. I love it's like using the makeshift junk from the Narrows, but actually pulled together a really nice penguin looking kind of, a clown penguin ensemble. I gotta say, like the makeshift nose and
right.
Nose and umbrella and everything, but basically this is Nygma's kind of little avenue so he can vent his frustration with the penguin, also kind of make fun of the affection the penguin had for him. And he's insulting the penguin.
Also insulting the GCPD, the fact that the GCPD is basically the penguin's puppets.
I love that they're like the rodeo clowns almost. Man, no, it's not exactly rodeo clowns. They're like the little clowns in the ring, that sort of thing. Basically, the hoods and the GCPD and like the over-the-top 40s gangsters as the hoods. It's funny. Of course, Tiki, let's see, remember what the catchphrase is for he wants to hear from everyone in the ring.
Oh God.
Stupid lame bird brain.
Yeah, there, thank you. I didn't have it written down.
Oh yeah. And basically, stupid lame bird brain, you don't mess with the Narrows. Building up the Narrows, and Narrows is very important. Of course, we see just to kind of boil it down a little bit. Lee is pointing out that Nygma's recklessness, and of course calling out the Penguin, as well as kind of rallying the Narrows without any intention on becoming the leader of the Narrows.
Also, we have to address the opponent that Grundy is fighting. We have to address the name.
Yes, we do.
So, how do you feel Rocket Raccoon would respond to a name like this, Dragon?
Well, I think he'd laugh in his murder face.
I'm sorry. I just think to yourself, sir. You look in your mirror and you think, it would be a really kick-ass name. Murder face. All right. I got that out of my system.
Okay. So basically, we have Grundy versus the very aptly named Murder Face.
Murder Face. Oh, God.
Murder Face has got a bunch of spikes on his face. Like, oh, boy, you better not run real fast and run into Murder Face, or else your face will be murdered. Anyway, so
yeah, that's basically the catch, Dragon. Thank you.
So Grundy's facing Murder Face, and basically in the fight, Grundy, as we saw in the very first fight he had, Grundy can take a pummeling. Yeah, of course that the gag is he's got swamp water instead of blood, so it'll be fine. And he takes some hits, but while he's taking hits, he takes a bunch of Murder Face hits to the face, and in doing so, he his memory is jogged. He has a few kind of foggy Tabitha memories that kind of jog his memory for a moment.
Flashes, if you will.
Yes, and then of course he kind of gets back into it, and then he has a new signature move.
Oh, I love this! I love this new signature move.
Oh god! And again, Tiki it still doesn't measure up to the Fish Mooney eye, but it's awfully graphic. Done what it is. Done what it does.
So basically, he pulls a Mortal Kombat fatality and rips the guy's arm out of his socket and starts beating the guy's arm with. The guy's arm with himself, and so basically and so basically that coins the title of the episode. Stop hitting yourself! Stop hitting yourself!
I love the simplicity, but I love just the horrific simplicity of the fact that Grundy makes this his signature move because, again, kind of similar to the Hulk and Ragnarok, just to make that point relevant. Just the fact that he likes. Everyone, he just likes being celebrated in this ring. Is everyone kind of liking him, but at the same time, they're all cheering, "Stop hitting yourself! Stop hitting yourself!" When he does it, that's the main reason he makes this a signature move, because he likes it when people are cheering for him and saying that.
It's just I gotta say, Dragon, from a marketing point of view, it works really well.
Basically, of course, he beats the man, if not to death. Well, I mean, imagine he bleed out, so I'm pretty sure this guy's dead.
I would be surprised if he was alive, yes.
Then again, it is Gotham, so, never say never. I mean, that Lee
Tompkins... keep in mind, we basically have a joke acknowledging the ridiculousness of deaths on the show later on, so yeah.
Plus, there's a lot of dismemberment and limb removals. Again, that brings me to my little theory. I gotta wonder if this arm removal thing, it's kind of a symbol of these two, but I wonder how intentional it is that both Tabitha and Butch, of course, have lost a hand. In this case, he is moving arms, including the hand, and that makes me wonder if this is another thing that's going to get him to the point of kind of remembering who he is.
Or maybe perhaps Gotham's just trying to work in a sly Monty Python reference. Tis but a flesh wound. All right.
Okay. Anyway, so let's get to our other plot line. So. That isn't that the cold open, or is that
yeah, let's see. I believe that the cold open is as soon as we fade out from the stop hitting yourself.
That was a good cold open.
Yeah, I thought so too, especially because it's like, hey, a nice way to work in the name of the episode. Very simple, very straightforward.
I gotta tell you, the most gruesome part of the arm removal for me is just that moment of the snap. That's what gets me. It's that moment of where you can see kind of the end of the arm kind of be ripped out. Oh god, it's just it's like the seams tearing on a stuffed toy almost. It's oh god. Anyway, so let's get to another scene. So this kind of feeds in one of my favorite elements of the episode here. So we have Jim having a scene with the mayor, who, by the way, we finally have a name, Mayor Burke.
Mayor Burke, all right. Well, he's not quite as fun as Richard Kind.
No, by no means is he as fun as Richard Kind, who, by the way, he's not dead, so we might see him one of these days.
Yeah, we'll see.
I would hope, but then again, Richard Kind has other stuff to do. So, Mayor Burke is having a little sit down with Jim Gordon. He's offering to promote Jim to captain after Bullock, and of course Penguin kind of threw Bullock under the bus. And at this point, everyone's kind of turned their back on Bullock except Jim here, where everyone's basically all the politicos, if you will, have thrown I've noted that Bullock has botched the Narrows thing, working with the Penguin very publicly. Of course, GCPD botched it, and then of course Bullock shot another cop. So things aren't going well for Bullock. And while the mayor's saying, "Oh, Jim, you handled that excellently," and of course, him working, basically calling Bullock out and being corrupt. I love that Jim kind of goes to Bullock's defense here by calling out the mayor on his fishy corruption, working with the Penguin. And basically, he's turning down the promotion initially because, of course, the mayor himself is very corrupt and in league with the Penguin. Secondly, of course, he can't do that to his friend Bullock. basically the mayor just says, okay, look, just take the paper, think it over, sign it. Either sign it or the job goes to someone else who may not have your commitment to the job.
Yeah, so the mayor's essentially like he's trying to play to Gordon's sensibilities, but at the same time, Gordon knows what a betrayal it would be to Bullock.
Of course, we, the audience, have a good idea of what's bringing this on. Later on, Gordon's going to find out too. So again, Gordon has his reason to be suspicious. It's understandable why he's not instantly jumping to the job along with the Bullock loyalty. And something I really want to hit on real quick here is, of course, we start coining the GCPD as Gotham Central.
Yes, that was kind of a sly sort of turnaround in the episode a little bit.
This is honestly my thesis statement for the episode, Tiki. I mean, I don't really care if I don't know what the reaction overall is to this episode, but for me, I really liked it. I want to make clear, not purely just for the name drop Gotham Central, but for the fact that this episode, because there's no Bruce Wayne in it, it does really feel like an issue of Gotham Central in many aspects, and I really appreciated that.
Dragon, is that I feel like that hits on sort of a thing that we've been feeling with season 4 as a whole, is that season 4 kind of almost feels like a reinvention of the show.
Yeah, in places, yes, it does feel like kind of a not a reboot necessarily, but like kind of a
not a reboot, but kind of like a restructuring.
Yeah, again, kind of like a better version of what Once Upon a Time's doing.
Yeah.
A very better version of what Once Upon a Time is doing, but anyway. But yeah, I mean, basically Jim in a position where he could be captain of Gotham Central. Now, of course, the rank of captain. Now, we kind of called this in the previous episode in speculation, where of course, Gordon being in the captain position logically because Bullock was probably going to be under fire. Who else are going to get for the job? Jim Gordon. But of course, in the Long Halloween, which this season, of course, is borrowing a lot of stuff from like the Grundy of it all. And of course,
we'll talk about that too with Sofia this episode.
Exactly, Sofia and Grundy, and of course in that book, this is set after year 1, where Jim Gordon was promoted to captain, and he had already been promoted to captain in that book. So that's kind of what we have here again, a Captain Jim Gordon, which I really appreciate. In that
respect, some time's passed since Gordon's had his first encounter with vigilante Bruce Wayne too. So
yes,
it's lining up, Dragon. It's lining up. We're dorks. I'm sorry. Me and my self-deprecating humor. Let's move on.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. Last thing I got to hit with this, because again, this is my thesis statement here. Is another thing I really loved about this whole kind of generally this plot line is that I love that it's it's a position that Gordon's been always kind of primed and ready for in the beginning, and it's like he's been ready for this job, but his loyalty to Bullock is in his path, and that's kind of the albatross of like getting Gordon a huge step closer to what eventually will be his Batman. Of course, it's kind of the origin of Batman and the origin of Commissioner. That's kind of what we have as kind of our parallel stories in this whole series. That's kind of it's a big step forward, but again, Bullock, his friendship and loyalty to Bullock is kind of the roadblock to that path. So very interesting. Okay, Street Demons.
All right, let's see. So at this point, at
the Esper Lounge, little powwow.
I'm sorry, I lost my place in the notes. You mind?
Okay. So basically, I like this. I really like this, especially on the rewatch. But I mean, it was kind of there already. I love the. We have direct aftermath of Selina, basically proving to Babs like, hey, we can make this enterprise work by stealing from the very violent street demons who, again, just on the suspicion that someone is screwed up, they literally ran his face over with the motorcycle tire. Again, you don't want to mess with the street demons. And we had a representative of the street demons. You're most likely leader, if not a representative. He's airing his grievance out to the Penguin because, again, they are card-carrying licensed members, and they're saying, hey, Penguin, these unlicensed guys stole from us.
Oh, okay. We don't like. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. This guy was a street demon. It's been a while since I watched the last week's episode, so that's why I didn't have it in my notes. My bad.
Yeah, so it's kind of neat. Like it makes sense. Again, I like how we're.
No, you're right. You're right. Continuity-wise, it does flow very well.
And that's why kind of our trio here. Again, they're essentially, even though they don't have the club anymore, they are, for all intents and purposes, the Gotham City Sirens in this case. And I'm kind of liking how that's tracking, by the way. If we have to come
I do too. I think it feels pretty natural. It feels earned over the course of multiple seasons.
Yeah. So let's see. So basically, we kind of have we have the Sirens. They kind of the civil case, the let's just say the uncivil case of the Sirens versus the Street Demons going on here. Then Mr. Penn shows up with news.
Oh God,
not good news.
Oh, Mr. Penn. Oh, God. I feel like this guy must take even more abuse behind closed doors than we're seeing on the actual show.
Mr. Penn is like he wrote the book for sucking up. He really did. I love it. Mr. Penn, he's just basically. Mr. Penn delivers the bad news about Nygma having like essentially a clown show act about.
I believe the term he uses is a crude commedia dell'arte.
That's the thing. I love how well spoken Mr. Penn is at the wrong time. He's so. It's like. By the way, here's the thing I got to take is Robin Lord Taylor. Of course, he's always been great in this series. He never is. I don't think Robin Lord Taylor's ever really dropped the ball in this series ever. Just something that kind of notice. But Robin Lord Taylor, I love it when he loses his crap, Tiki. I can't get enough of it when he loses, and he's like he's shouting crazily in this scene. What? Just while these, it's like he's the judge during a court case. And it's like what? Explain to my guest.
He's making fun of me in the clown show in the Narrows.
Just love it. They're gonna look. Selena is gonna voicing us the audience in the scene where she's laughing. And Tab was like, "Don't laugh, don't laugh." We're kind of facing the judge of crime here, man. But just to get his
like Tuco, going off on Walt and Jesse.
Essentially, yes, it's a lot
tight.
God, I love that we're foreshadowing kind of the Penguin and Catwoman's dynamic in this scene. By the way, Selena, she's kind of standing her ground here. She's saying, "Well, I'm sorry, I'm jumping a little ahead. Basically, the minute the representative of Street Demons kind of mentions the Riddler, I love how we built up this thread. The Penguin has a blade in his umbrella.
This is basically the second senseless kill in a row that Penguin's made in this season.
And I love the sense of continuity because again, we're kind of getting Penguin back to that while he is kind of at the height of his
the season 1 kill a dude for a sandwich type mode.
I love that I think it's a beautiful mixture that he's kind of almost at the height of his power, but at the same time he's still kind of deep down he's still that season 1 character.
Absolutely.
And we kind of set up this device so that that blade in the umbrella. So basically, you say the wrong thing. He mentions Riddler, of course. His name is Ed.
Plain his name dumb is Ed.
Of course, just kills him and stabs him right off the bat. God. And anyway, so yeah, basically, a Penguin then absorbs kind of the debt collection for the Street Demons, which means the Sirens aren't off the hook and they now owe their debt to the Penguin. And instead of payment, what he wants is for them to take in the Nygma show and bring him to the Penguin.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And again, basically, Selena, she's not standing around there. She says, she wants something. Like, what are you going to give us in return? Of course, she says, I won't pluck out your eyes, your tongues, basically all this gruesome stuff. Your noses, your tongues, and feed them to you. Yeah, it's a good deal.
Do not set every criminal in this city after you and feed them your noses and your ears and your tongues. That's exactly what you get, my dear child.
Yeah, so again, I love we're setting that up already. Because again, we kind of set up where before where she is she's worked for the Penguin. Now at this point, they're on different sides. It's good. Some fun little seeds that we're planting.
Yeah.
Let's see. Beyond that, so then Firefly's back.
Yeah. She had a cool kind of little cameo walk-on role this episode in a couple.
Yeah, I thought she was fun this episode. She had some lines.
Yeah.
That was an oversimplification, but it's like, hey, it's Firefly. And of course, I love this. I love we kind of set. I keep saying set this up. Anyway, she's kind of like Victor Freeze in that she's very casual. Like I'm a freeze guy. I'm a fire person. That's kind of where they kind of sit down. They're they love just getting.
She's a casual arsonist.
Yeah, I just love how casual both of them are, what they do. That's kind of where they get their kicks at this point. And with Firefly, she's like, wait, don't you want me to do the other stuff? Again, she's not making fun of them, but she just doesn't quite get it's just what about all the eyes, nose, and tongue stuff? That's good ideas, but too messy. Basically burn them to a crisp if they don't deliver by midnight.
Right.
Of course, we mentioned the Penguin has an informant. That's going to be a little plot detail. It's going to come back. Okay, meanwhile, take us through a little outside the club here.
Okay, so let's see. So the gals indeed go to watch the commedia dell'arte. But of course, things go not according to plans as Tabitha sees Butch.
Yeah. So,
and of course, right as she sees Butch, Butch pulls off the arm and, does the stop hitting yourself move. And Tabs, of course, is naturally horrified by this. I'm sorry, go ahead, Dragon.
They're both very, everyone's kind of surprised by it. It's not just by the fact that he's ripping a man's arm off and beating him to death with, but the fact that, oh my god, Butch is alive. And he's kind of zombie looking, but he's alive. And of course, it's just, the novelty of this bounds, Tiki. And this also feels very Gotham Central-esque in that we can have Batman villains. We don't necessarily need Batman, where we can kind of explore kind of these villains and how they operate within the city. Like Selina on the way here was kind of mentioning the Code of the Narrows, which of course is going to pay off later, where she's
right.
Bring up that, and saying that Cherry is kind of a recent development in the Narrows, and basically when the days before Cherry, you had this code. That's how people sell their fights in the ring, and now she's kind of profitized it. She's kind of made into like kind of a gambling ring sort of. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, I love that sense of history that we're kind of building in here, and of course, is the fact that what kind of has led to Grundy's origin, where Barbara's like, "Hey, apologize for me shooting him in the head, would you?" So they're both essentially the adults are distracted.
What I'm talking about with like all the people being killed off. Like, oh boy, I hope it wasn't. I hope it wasn't anything personal that I shot him in the head. And then, so basically, Drag. Let's get the flowchart out. So basically, so Babs killed Butch. Tabs is,
she killed Barbara.
Right. So you see what I mean?
To be fair,
is almost a self-parody of the show in a way.
And to be fair, Barbara shot Butch in the head, and he was not. He was turned into a vegetable, who then was put into contaminated swamp water that mutated him into a zombie Frankenstein Hulk-esque creature that is obsessed with the nursery with the Solomon Grundy Born on a Monday nursery.
And then if you want to work like Riddler and the Penguin into the scene, like, off to the side, like they both thought they killed each other at certain points.
And then, of course, Penguin shot Butch's arm off, which is now grown back, and the Riddler cut Tabitha's arm, her hand off. But then that was sewn back on.
Of this stuff. Oh man.
The amazing things we can track all of this, folks. That's the amazing. Anyway, all right. So also, Barbara notes that there's Lee, and of course they have a history together.
Oh God, yeah, of course. We don't even have time to get into
both dating the same guy. She was engaged. They were both engaged to the same guy too.
Multiple kidnapping attempts.
Yeah. Well, she threatened to rip Barbara's head off last season.
That's what Barbara. At one point, Barbara was the most hateable character on the show, and then Lee was the most hateable character on the show.
Now they're both kind of back to normal. Well, they're not back to normal, but they're both kind of on the path of recovery. Just to get back on topic here. So basically, our adults,
just the whole thing.
Our adults are kind of distracted about the mission here. Where again, Barbara wants to check in on Lee, like, why the heck is Lee Tompkins here after she was infected with the blood and everything? Why is she here? And Tabitha, of course, oh my God, Butch, he's like a zombie. He's like a zombie Frankenstein. I guess see what's going on there. Selina, meanwhile, she's the only one left on the mission here.
The only one who's concerned about the mission.
And I love that. Again, that's classic kind of Catwoman, especially early in the career. Again, if she's got a job, or she's going to be focused on the task before a Batman would get involved. But she's going to be really task oriented.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Meanwhile, oh my God, there's a beautiful look. It's a beautiful scene. Donald.
Oh God, all the Bullock stuff in this episode breaks my heart, Dragon.
I know. And Donald Logue. Would you say this is an Emmy episode for Donald Logue, at least for consideration?
I would say just collectively, this has been Donald Logue's Emmy season. I don't know about this episode in particular,
sure,
but I'd say collectively, this is like his strongest argument for an Emmy this season.
I'll agree with you on that front. Yes. Okay. I can go with that. Anyway,
Dragon, I think you'd do it better justice than I would explaining it.
All right, so Bullock is preparing for the Bullet Hole Club meeting. Now, this is a beautiful idea. And Tika, this is out of all the elements in this episode. And again, not just for the fact that it's name dropped, folks, but for moments like this is what I'm really getting at here. Gotham Central is filled with ideas like where it's essentially it was a cop show set in the Batman universe, and the Bullet Hole, the Bullet Hole Club feels so much like one. It feels like a real world cop thing, and secondly, it just feels like like that the GCPD absolutely would have something like this for like the most kind of for the most kind of battered and corrupt police force of people who are just going to be like, again, be in the most crime-ridden city ever. All these horrible things transpire. You imagine it'd be a regular thing in Gotham of them having to and this really meaningful gesture, this really kind of respect-filled gesture, where basically the cops who were wounded in line of duty, the ones who made it, the ones who did not pass away, the ones who were shot, would have the bullets that were that were in them, that were taken out during a surgery. Basically, the bullets retrieved from their wounds would be polished and given back to them in sort of a kind of a private ceremony by the captain, by the person who assumed responsibilities, and the man who was at fault, which in this case was Bullock, because he sent them in there knowing that there was a very decent chance that some bad stuff was going to befall him. And it's up to him, especially for Patel. Officer Patel was the young female officer who was kidnapped last episode that was kind of pulled a Dark Knight bait and switch and got shot by Bullock, per Pig's design. So essentially, Bullock is dreading giving the slugs pulled from the cops that he got wounded and shot. He's dreading giving them back, and he's not sure he has the courage to do so. And Jim tries to reassure Bullock. The friendship between Gordon and Bullock is so fascinating in this episode here, where, again, I love that they're both right to a large extent. Like, no one's necessarily a bad guy. No one's a bad guy. No one's an unsavory light. You understand exactly where both of these guys are coming from.
I mean, it's not even really morally ambiguous. It's just like, as you said, you just understand exactly where both of them are coming from. Like, like Bullock, I mean, it's, as we kind of discussed at the end of last episode, Dragon, it's, it was just such a heavy burden to lay on the character. Like, so yeah, I completely understand both the characters' actions throughout the episode.
This is an idea. I love that Lucius kind of drops by for a cameo so we can explain what the Bullet Hole Club is. Also, it's like a little way of working Lucius, and like, oh hey, there's Lucius, hasn't been in it for a couple episodes. and again, the Bullet Hole Club is kind of like in. I don't know if there's necessarily a bullet hole thing in real life. It feels like a real world idea, because I know in real life when like when you're at a cop's funeral, usually the one, if there's ever friendly fire, it's assumed that the officer who fired will show up and they apologize to the widow and kind of show there's a sign of bravery, a sign of kind of, basically that's kind of the idea here. It's a real world, right. That's a real world cop thing. So I would imagine they took a lot of inspiration from that, if it's not already just an existing thing. It sounds like it is. Anyway, the point is, so Jim's reassuring Bullock that it was Pig, it wasn't him, it was a setup. And again, I love this. And Jim, of course, he spelled this out to Bullock, and he said, look, I'm going to have to clean up your mess here. And Jim did clean up his mess. So, I mean, Jim is comforting his friend here, but Jim was absolutely right last episode. And it was a big poignant moment where Bullock just, he would not, he would not, he went Penguin over Jim, and Jim was begging him to trust him, and he didn't. So, a lot of growth there, and of course a lot of regret on Bullock. So Bullock's just haunted, and he's very guilty over what has happened. So we get this some excellent human acting by Logue with this line here, T. I think Ben McKenzie and Donald Logue, they have so many great moments in this episode, but there are two moments that stick out to me. This one with Logue and one later with Ben McKenzie. So with Logue here, he has this fantastically heartbreaking moment where Bullock is asking Jim to be there. So Jim, it would mean a lot to me if you were there. He's so vulnerable in this scene where he's saying, we're going to the bar, give him the bullets back. And basically wants Jim there for moral support. And again, I assumed they were going like a whole, the conventional route of, okay, Jim won't be able to make it, and then Bullock's going to feel really, Bullock's going to feel betrayed by this, and that might sour the friendship.
But no, they turned that whole thing kind of on its head.
I know, I'm so proud of it for that, Tiki. But again, it's.
Would you say you're proud of your boy?
Yes, Tiki. Collectively, the GCPD, our boys from the GCPD, I'm proud of my boys.
All right.
Yes, I'm proud of my boy.
Dooley's boys.
That's a different show. Anyway. But seriously, again, it's a heartbreaking scene. Again, a really great setup. And again, Logue is he's delivering so hard on this. Anything else you want to add?
No, you covered it.
Okay, Sofia. Sorry.
All right, so let's see. So Oswald is venting to Sofia about Nygma, like, no one appreciates the woes of being a crime lord.
God. Oh, by the way, here's something to point out real quick. It's Sophia's preparing for a catered fundraiser. That's going to be the setup for next episode. I want to point that out.
Okay.
Okay, go on. Keep on.
So Sophia, of course, she's pointing out like, well, I was raised by a crime lord, and Oswald, he's like, of course, we should talk about this. How about lunch? And I love how it's like a running gag that Oswald's like constantly inviting her to lunch.
Well, that's how they bonded. That's how they befriended each other.
Yeah, I know, but I just love how it's kind of it's an adorable running gag now.
You're right. Also, we have the suggestion of a hobby.
Yes, kind of calling to mind Falcone's chickens, which, oh, you and I love that, Dragon.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the first again, I love the callbacks of the first season like that, where we call back the fact that Falcon had chickens, and Sophia again. I love how and Sophia Crystal Reed is such a wonderful addition to this season.
And so, speaking of Long Halloween, Dragon, I feel like this episode really finally cements this version of Sophia Falcone. If not being on par with the version in the comics, at least like I see the stepping stones to getting there. Like I really think this character is very much coming into her own.
You gotta remember, Sophia is she's an interesting character, but she's different in the comics. And that's not a bad thing we went off page in that regard. Because, I mean, it's physically Sophia, she's more muscle than she was. I'm not saying she wasn't smart, but, she had layers to her. She had layers, she had complexity, like she was, she had like a likable father-daughter relationship with Falcone, but at the same time, she was, like, she could handle herself in a fight. In this case, Sophia, she's all kind of danger and intellect and manipulation. Like Sophia, she's as dangerous, but more in a non-physical way.
Sure.
Again, as far as we can see, she might be, she might have some surprises and sort of it's unclear. But yeah, I mean, she's cementing her bond with the Penguin here. Of course, kind of connect again. She's gotten under the Penguin's skin with a whole mother connection there. Of course, in some ways, pulling the Fish Mooney kind of emulating kind of that motherly figure to Oswald. But at the same time, the chicken hobby that Falcone back in season 1, even when things were at their most stressful, he turned to chickens. He turned to like kind of tending to his chickens, kind of like Mike Hermantrail a little bit in Breaking Bad. Now I think about it, chickens, it's a stress reliever. That's what it is. And I kind of looked at it as well. I could be definitely reading this. By the end of this episode, I doubt we're going this way, but imagine how fun it could have been, Tiki, if the Penguin kind of misinterprets get a hobby by getting actual penguins.
That kind of crossed my mind for a little bit too, Dragon. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
So I was
like, no, that's too silly even for this show, but I was like, maybe.
So look, in my own continuity, as we've always said since the first season, in my own continuity, like what's going to happen years later, years down the line, I would like to imagine Ben's going to think back on he's going to get a penguin to kind of fill in the kind of the Falcone chicken idea.
Oh God! But no, the result we do get, Dragon, is wonderful in its own right. I thought.
Oh yes, so we have once she says get a hobby, she's off to do other things. So Penguin, meanwhile, of course, let's remember, folks, the kind of Penguin's new lair, because we keep getting Penguin new lairs each season. In addition
we have to think of a great literary story that takes place in an orphanage. Oliver Twist. Oliver Twist. This is totally Oliver Twist.
Iggy, you beat me by 1 second. I swear.
Oh man.
1 second.
Oh God. Okay, Dragon. So Penguin's literary odyssey continues.
Oh God. You want me to lay out the whole time, or you want to just
go for it if you have it really quick?
Okay. Let's see. So, we One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah, we did One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Then we did Clockwork Orange. Then we did Cinderella. Then we did Psycho. / Bates Motel, mostly Psycho. Then we had. I'm trying to think with the Riddler.
Mice and Men.
Mice and Men. And now looks like we got Oliver Twist with the Penguin. I think that's it. I think that's.
I think Scholastic should partner with Gotham and do the Gotham Literary Book Fair.
I would buy all those books, but I don't think anyone else would. Anyway, back on point. So again, kind of remember, we're set in an orphanage. The Sofia Falcone, the Falcone Orphanage.
But of course, the main reason I mentioned Oliver Twist is kind of like the the Fagin of it all. Kind of like the nefarious man, kind of mentoring the lost orphan kid.
Oh yeah. So, do you want to tell them what happens?
Yeah, so essentially Oswald spies,
Little boy.
this kid getting bullied.
Mm-hmm.
And he calls the kid up.
Well, also, the thing is, it's very fascinating because in the comics, and I can assume just in this show, we don't touch on it that much, but we touched on it a little bit, like in season 2 and Penguin Riddler hitting it off. Penguin, traditionally, Oswald caught up because of his appearance. He was bullied as a lad, and I think it's kind of fascinating here if you look at it. If you look at the scene, he's laughing with the bullies at first, but then he sees the kid kind of wander off. And then again, so initially you think he's seeing himself in this kid that's bullied, but no, it's showing like how cruel the Penguin can be. But then he's seeing like cruelty has kind of swept him up. We're not doing the traditional like, oh, he would feel sympathy towards this ostracized boy. No, he's seeing potential in this youth he can exploit.
Right.
We're basically young Martine here. It's not Martin. I just love that it's kind of
Martine. I agree.
Oh, you caught that, right? They called
yes,
Sofia
they went the extra mile with the name.
Anyway, so basically Martine, to get revenge, he's like prepared to set the bullies. Like there's a girl and a boy who are bullying him. He's about to give him a wedgie and everything. He's about to like let their stuff on fire, and then he's called, boy, come over here. And we see again. I love this is like kind of a twist here again, kind of ostracized him, kind of like as the Penguin was. He's mute. So he has to draw everything in this little note.
Right,
I thought that was a cool choice. And I think it makes the kill a little bit more memorable. I liked it. So basically, Penguin kind of sees him. He's educating the future, this future sociopath in the making of. No, they're going to know who you are if you do that. Just come here. Come to my office.
Penguin has a hobby.
Yes, he does. Okay.
All right. So Tabs runs into Butch backstage.
Mm-hmm. Though she's puzzled by the new look, as anyone would.
Mm-hmm.
As that's happening, Barbara and Lee have a little reunion.
They're basically like insulting each other's life choices.
Yes. I love that Lee's really going the quick draw. Oh, she's carrying this little gun now, and like again, these are the Lee choices that again because I think I'm playing ball a lot more with the Lee stuff here. One, because it's better than what we were doing last season. Anything's better than what we were doing last season. But the other reason,
amen to that, brother.
The other reason I think, and it's kind of crazy. I think the factor a really good form of these Gotham characters, we really wanted to go kind of really strange with them. I think the foundation we have here is do something that is very in tune with what they traditionally are. Again, Lee Tompkins, she's kind of the underdog. She supports the underdog of the narrow, and she has the free clamp. We're doing all these traditional Leslie Tompkins things. So if we do unconventional things, we have that safety net around her. I think that's the winning formula we have going on with leaders. So if they had that for season 3, I think we might have been a little bit more on board for it. I don't know. It's something to consider, maybe.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, so bonus, Lee's going the quick draw with the gun. She backhands. She backhands Barbara, and she's just rolling with it. They're right now. They're mocking each other's life choices. She's questioning. Oh, how are things with Jim? Of course, they get under her skin, and she says, "Jim who?" And again, this is what I'm talking about. That scene.
We have like hard drinking Lee in this episode.
And that's the thing, Tiki. And while that could be a questionable choice, again, I'm so into the character at this point. I'm rolling with it. I'm like, I'm going to get a shot now.
With it because it's just like, as we said, first of all, anything's better than season 3, but
sure,
it's so much better than Lee just being resentful about Gordon. You know what I mean? It's like she's moving on, but she's taking a slightly dark path to move on, and yet the path that she is moving on is allowing her to be heroic in kind of a weird sort of way.
Exactly. So that's a winning kind of idea to go into the season with.
Yeah. I give the writers a solid A- for their Lee efforts.
I like the minus. I think that's fair. No, it's trepidation.
I had a feeling you'd like the minus.
I was saying the minus is like there's that trepidation there. If you know what you're doing,
right.
But, keep it up. It's like that sort of like keep it up.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see where it goes. Anyway, so Barbara, I love that Barbara's intrigued like us, the audience, by this bit here. So she's intrigued as she would be. I think she sees a bit of herself in Lee, which I think is interesting. She's seen the transitional phase. Basically, again, the arc that we saw with Barbara, she's seeing in Lee as a reflection of herself, where she was really crazy last season, really likable the previous season, but then we kind of turned that around, seemingly this season. I guess that's intriguing. It's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Of course, Barbara drops like I mentioned. Oh, I'm just here to do some kidnapping, and then of course Lee a moment later puts it together that it's Nygma. Just oh crap. Yeah, Maria Baccarin at her finest here, folks. I mean, Maria Baccarin is just doing a good job.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, Selena pulls. I like this with Selena again, pulling some classic Catwoman moves here, where Selena pulls the old fangirl ploy to knock out Nygma.
I thought you were supposed to be smart.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Jim calls. Basically, Jim is going for a little walk with Sofia. Okay, good staging, but I was gonna put that out there. Mm-hmm. Jim calls Sofia out on her handiwork for the promotion, which is true, and it's like that's the only reason the mayor, the super corrupt mayor, would kind of consider Gordon. As much as the mayor is absolutely right that Gordon will be the next go-to guy in that, but it's very obvious Sophia's been. This is why Sophia's been making the political connections as well as some other motives we're not sure. Because again, that's Sofia Falcone. I fear what stuff she.
Dragon, I gotta say, I really do think this scene is kind of like the moment where I really started to get more wrapped up, like. This Sofia Falcone, like she's way more complex than, her randomly having sex with Gordon on the beach in her first appearance. You know what I mean? I feel like they've done a really good job building her up.
To be fair, they didn't have sex on the beach. They had sex in the other episode.
Yeah, I know. In her first appearance, right?
Well, no, it's like it wasn't. They kissed on the beach, Tiki. They didn't move that fast.
Okay, you're right. Fair enough. They kissed on the beach. All right.
That's all I'm saying. I just want to give credit where credit's.
No, you're right. It's been a while.
No.
Go the extra mile with that. My bad.
But yes, I absolutely see your point. So, Jim's calling the handwork in the question on promotion. Jim says, I didn't want it like this. He wants to earn it. He wants to kind of do it completely above board.
And of course, not at Harvey's expense.
Absolutely, he would not want to, at the cost of his friend. And this is what fascinates me about Sophia's character. And this is stuff I'm assuming we're all very simpatico about. We're feeling very simpatico on Sofia, which I'm very pleased by the way. She's calling Jim on propping Bullock up. I think it's the best line, one of the best lines she has in the episode. Aren't you tired of just, how many times are you going to prop Bullock up? Because again, Bullock.
How many cops need to die before Bullock gets reprimanded for what he's done?
Again, that's a fascinating thing about Sofia, Tiki, is that she has an absolute point that is impossible to refute.
Because Bullock has sort of been an issue since the first season when you think about it.
Yes.
It's one of those things where it's like we as fans, we don't really like to think about Bullock's, corrupt actions, but they do kind of build up.
And again, the sympathetic thing about that as well is that what's really interesting this season is, we saw in the previous episode, Bullock is in a really bad state. He's popping pills because he's so anxiety-ridden over the job, and it's the fact that he has to make these corrupt compromises, and it's back to the season 1 position where Bullock was corrupt not because he was a bad cop. He was corrupt because that's how Gotham worked, because he was pressured by the higher-ups to be corrupt, and he rolled with, and he's in the exact same position this season, which is getting to that anxiety-ridden, like a cop fearing for survival in Gotham place again, and we knew ever since Bullock had to take on captainship temporarily, that just kind of became him just being promoted to captain altogether. He's always said he would not make a good captain, and we're kind of seeing the point there. Bullock, he can't make the high pressure decisions at the end of the day, and Bullock he's good for leadership in the moment. He's great for leader. He's like a great temp. He's a great captain temp.
He's like the world's best substitute teacher captain.
Yes, he's the best substitute police captain. That's what he is. He's the best substitute, but he can't do this day in, day out. It's going to wear on.
No, you're right. You make a great point. Yeah.
And that's the thing I love is Sophia's. She's aware of that. She's feeling the room on that. She has a point that Bullock is incompetent at the job, and Bullock has self-admitted this to us, the audience. It tracks, and I love how wonderfully it tracks. That and I love this too. And again, oh my God, Crystal Reed's just doing it so well here, where she says, Jim, you can also stop pretending you're not taking the job. You haven't thrown the paper away yet. I love that. She just calls him on it, right there. You still have the papers and you're contemplating it. So why not? You're going to show up my place later for a victory drink for a congratulatory drink after you've taken the job. Just, again, that's when she's point. Like, how more times does it have to happen? How more cops have to die? It's still in your hand. You definitely have interest in this. She's expecting Jim for that drink. It's again, she's just so awesome, and she has those points. There's all these levels to her plan. Because think about it, she's doing like a 3-tier thing. After it says, I guess we'll move on to the next scene, but she's kind of has this going on here where she knows people. She knows people. She's kind of boxing people in at the same time. She's making excellent points. She knows people. She knows how to manipulate people, and of course, like she's put Gordon into a position where even if she gives Gordon everything he wants, he will not be able to basically no one will be able to go up against her. The way she's kind of moved all the pieces on the board here.
She's essentially playing a really good strategy game. She's getting all her alliances in order. You know what I mean? She's basically playing on a human chessboard.
Oh, yeah. So again, it's top marks, Sophia, all the way this season. Top marks.
Okay, so meanwhile, Oswald is waxing poetic to Martine about revenge.
Oh, Penguin, my Penguin.
God. He's talking about, let's see, so Martine draws a drawing of stabbed eyes, perhaps a little overly ambitious.
Basically, to finesse proper revenge. That's kind of what Penguin's teaching young Martine.
Yeah,
here.
sometimes the best revenge is a personal revenge.
Yes, and of course, Nygma and Penguin's experience with Nygma, he kind of highlights manipulation through friendship.
Mm.
And basically, he kind of feels the room here on Martine, and Martine kind of spells out for him. He's really good at math, and like, how can we use? I love that he's just not just spelling it out for him. I love that he's truly mentoring.
You know what he's being, Dragon? He's being a really good tutor.
Yeah. he's a.
I mean, he's using it he's basically a tutor of evil, but one step at a time, it's one step in the right direction.
In Gotham, I love that if you look at this, Tiki, it's like the Penguin's view of Gotham can be seen through his mentorship of the show. This is Penguin educating the future of Gotham's youth. Like,
Exactly.
And I love that we've teased this before in season 3 when he was running for mayor. He had that scene with the kid where he tells the kid to knock people down. Like, hey, we saw what he does when the Penguin's in a room with a kid. Sometimes, he'll mentor him really darkly, and other times he'll move him like furniture. So it's kind of the Penguin's interactions with children have always been kind of unpredictable and fun like this. So it's we see the plan in motion in the following scenes. We see it's like a little intricate montage too here. We see young Martine kind of putting this plan in motion. He helps the girl during a test, basically allows her to copy off his paper. She gets an A, and she's like, now she's indebted to him. Basically, in the playground. So the Penguin is like the perfect. We have the perfect stage established with this in the previous scene Penguin saw him, where she frames the boy for giving Martine a wedgie, and then the two of them are starting to fight each other, and their friendship is terminated, as well as now they're beating the snot out of each other. So they've taken each other out, and they're now. And of course, she's his lackey, and of course, Ben has the great line. Well, minions, in my experience, have always been better than friends. Then we got like a little heartfelt bit here, and I love the payoff of this. By the way, take a little paper.
Yep.
It's the "I'm your friend" bit.
All right, so let's see. So now we have.
I'm sorry. No. Penguin again. He says, "No, we're not friends. We are." Again, post Nygma, he's not taking on any more friends, and he's trusting. Sophia's like the only friend he has right now, and again, that's still a little dicey, as we're going to find.
Oh yeah.
We are not friends. We are conspirators.
Yeah,
I love that he's
being hesitant because of the Nygma situation as well.
Exactly, and I love that we linger on that crumpled note in his hand, like he looks at it as that he wants friends, and that deep. Again, there's regret, and there's like a seed of the ending revelation that he's looking at this, and there's a question of with this coming back, he's kind of maybe looking at Sophia's actions to a more scrutinizing degree, perhaps just looking at this note. It's either like guilt over stuff with Nygma, or again maybe he's connecting some dots in his head for later. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
All right, hey Barbara.
Okay, so let's see. So Ed, Selena, they're trying to leave with Nygma.
Barb was very impressed with Selena.
Let's see. So Tabitha is trying to jog Butch's memory. She's showing him the fake hand.
Well, it's the real hand he's just been stitched back on, showing her the scar.
No, yeah, I'm sorry. You're right.
And again, Butch is starting to come through a little bit, but just as that happens, then the Nygma in peril kind of reactivates Grundy here, and of course, Grundy kill, and again, it's all sorts of chaos. Then the League tries to mediate and says, like, Selena, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? That sort of stuff's happening. Selena, she then enacts the Code of the Narrows.
Yes.
Of course, basically means it's kind of a trial by combat sort of thing. My champion versus your champion for who gets Nygma.
Mortal Kombat!
Essentially. Okay, let's see. So then we have next scene. Basically, we're at the big brawl where Nygma is warming up the crowd with his little act with Grundy. I love that Grundy's.
He's basically like the stand-up comedian before the heavy metal rock show.
It feels so. It feels a Young Frankenstein the ways of this little.
It's weird, Greg. And I was just about to mention Young Frankenstein because I feel like this episode has a great mix of pathos and comedy in much the same way Young Frankenstein does.
Yeah. Not exactly a dance number, but, it's the next best thing.
No, but I'm just saying, like it gets to the heart of who the monster is in the same way that Young Frankenstein does, I think.
Sure. Also, what did you think of Corey Michael Smith's his penguin impression, basically his penguin act, his clown.
Oh, he's great. He's great. I mean, the nose helps a lot. The nose makes it.
Of course, we did kind of like a Gollum sort of like. We have great editing in this scene here with the lighting and the editing. He's kind of in shadow. And of course, he can do the quick change with the hat so well. Like
right.
The hat, and of course, the lights go out, and then of course he's all Riddler again. Really good editing in that regard. And basically, the big fight, Grundy versus. I like how they worked it in here. Tigress. Because Tabitha's basically.
Yeah. I did like that name drop as well. That was clever.
Yeah. Nice. Tabby the Tigress. So basically, Tabitha's going into this fight. I like how we're also these little bits here, Tiki. We're strengthening the Selena Tabitha bond here. Selena's worried about Tabitha going in the ring.
Yeah, she's kind of like Mickey on the sidelines,
Yeah, and then Tabitha's reassuring Selena that, hey, I can get through it. And of course, Grundy kill! And Barbara coming up with the comedy line here. You may want this, basically this big kind of club that, to me, Tiki, it looks like it's a big melee club made with doorknobs.
Well, again, hence the Mortal Kombat.
Oh, sure. I'm just saying, it's just like that club. It looks like it's made from doorknobs, which I think is funny if that's.
No, you're right. I can see it.
I would hope that's it. I think it's funnier.
It's made out of the door department in Home Depot.
God. All right, so then let's see. Cherry reveals to Lee that she informed Penguin's. She's informed Penguin's men about Nygma, so either or, Nygma's out of here. He's very unsporting, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So in the ring, Tabitha's going unrecognized. I love the arm tension. I thought the tension was really good in this scene because, again, just considering we established again with Tabitha had lost the hand, had lost her hand previously, and it's the fact that it's the same arm. But I think,
and we've established Butch's famous finishing move.
So again, I think that's really good setup. The fact is, he's starting to tug on the arms, like, oh God, is she gonna? Because I was worrying this episode because I knew they were going to go in the ring from the promo. I knew that much. I knew she was going to be in the ring with them after they established from the very beginning when they did that whole the arm thing. I was wondering this episode, oh God, we're going to scar like another character like that. We're going to remove the arm. God. So you never put anything past Gotham at this point.
Oh no!
Anyway, then of course, Barbara tosses her the melee club, and she's wailing on Butch, and we have like the red POV shot. What do you think of the red POV shot? Grundy's POV, like the little kind of red perspective.
It's interesting. It's not the strongest directorial choice I've ever seen on the show, but I think it gets the point across.
All right. Let's see. So after a few hits to the head, this jogs Butch's memory, and of course his Ted. And of course, unfortunately, she doesn't hear him in time, and she basically pulls kind of a Hawkeye Black Widow from Avengers here, where she then hits him again, which really didn't need to. And then of course that's a knockout here. So Butch is down right as he snapped out of it too. So there womp womp womp. Meanwhile, powerful scene.
Okay, so the GCPD is kind of meeting at an Irish pub. And let's see, as Jim walks in, the bartender gives a box to Jim that Harvey instructed him to get.
Yeah, this is the other moment. This is the moment Ben McKenzie was talking about here. So we have the
Oh
bullet
yeah,
hole
absolutely,
club.
absolutely.
We have the bullet hole club meeting at the bar. I love that Jim was already there. Like Jim didn't walk in; he was waiting there. He's probably waiting there like not long, but he's there and has this beautiful line Ben McKenzie delivers here. So I just love the delivery. It feels so Jim. I love that it's almost like a little whisper to himself. Where he's like, "Come on, buddy." It's love where he's saying, "Come on, buddy." That summarizes the friendship between Jim Bulk. I know it's not much, but I love that all that character and all that the connection we've seen between these guys kind of summed up in that delivery there, where it's again Jim showed up for moral support for Bulk, and he knows what Bulk's going through. He knows like the guilt and the shame that Bulk has, and it's going to take a lot of courage and bravery to get there. But he knows Bulk has it in him. He knows that he has faith in his friend. He also knows that if
Bullock doesn't show up with this, it's going to eat away at Bullock even more so if he doesn't confront, his demons right here and now.
And at the same time, Jim knows it's going to this is a big make or break moment for his decision, because he's still holding on to that promotion paper. And at the same time, he's kind of thinking, Bullock doesn't show up. I mean, it's going to make him kind of question his faith in Bullock's abilities even more so. There's a lot riding on this, and I love we kind of summarize that to that line, that "come on, buddy," because
right.
Bullock here, and so he learns from the bar. Yeah, as he learns from the bartender, the Bullock showed up, but he left just like a little before everyone showed up. So he lost his nerve very steadfastly. Then of course he left the bullets for Jim. You'll know what to do. And then we have it's a really inspiring, tragic scene. By the way, I love that we don't sensationalize it, but at the same time, it's like it's just played very honestly, and I respect the show for that. Because again, there's a real thing. Again, I don't know if it's a ceremony done like this, but it feels kind of unique to kind of a GCPD setting. But again, this whole it's like kind of the tragedy within the line of duty vibe. I really respect in this scene where Jim is just
for lack of a better word, it felt very patriotic.
Yes, I agree. That is for lack of a better word, that is exactly what the scene feels like. Again, that's why I'd say inspiring, because I don't know, not seeing American flag, but it feels very patriotic. Yes. And Ian,
maybe it's just because we just got done talking about Hey Arnold Veterans Day, but I'm still kind of like in the in the Veterans Day mindset a couple days later, Dragon, but that kind of rubbed off on me a little bit watching.
And to be fair, we know Gordon was a military man, so it's
very true.
An underlining patriotic. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, just this feels like such a great. And I love this, Steve. We've been building this up since the last episode, especially where again the cops have come around on Jim Gordon. This is and that's the other thing to take away from this scene too, is that this is a scene where the cops are respecting Jim more than they had before. Where they're saying, okay, Gordon's definitely a cop through and through, aside from just the fact that he's very anti-corruption. Is that okay? He's there when we need him. We needed Bullock.
I feel like that arc has definitely been earned. It's not something that happened immediately. You know what I mean? It's something that's been building through the 8 episodes.
Because before, we've always had kind of the running gag where every time someone walks into GCP to have those cops in the water cooler going, Jim Gordon must be doing something interesting this week. It's like, oh boy, what? There's always something going on relating to Jim Gordon. Oh, they 44 bloody packages.
Oh God, what's Jim Gordon going to do this week that's going to make our jobs harder?
Exactly. There's always been kind of that joke at the GCPD. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Tick. It's earned. I'm just so fascinated how we have this great dichotomy between what's going on with Bullock this season and how that feeds into what's going on with Jim. It's like that great balance we have going on there between these two guys, where ultimately for one to advance, the other one's going to have to suffer.
Yeah, good dramatic framing there.
So he's giving the bullet to the wounded cops, and he absorbs Bullock's responsibility within this scene. It's kind of very visual. I love it's visually done. We don't have any dialogue. It's just Jim is shown in this scene to us, the audience, and especially to the cops, that he's the guy for the job. And of course, and this is the sad part. I didn't know how bad Patel was wounded, because I forgot how many shots. I assumed one shot, but it was a really bad shot, because the way Bullock shot Patel, the way it's sold in this scene, is that he paralyzed her from the neck down.
Oh yeah.
Huh. Because she couldn't close her hand, and she can't pull her own chair. I mean, she had to be pushed in there, and
right.
She didn't close her hand. I can only assume she's paralyzed, and she couldn't salute back. I assume that means she's paralyzed from the waist down. That's tragic.
Yeah, and I
from the neck
that's going to be something that's going to haunt Bullock's character moving forward. At least if the writers are smart about it and use it well.
Just on the whole, it's a great cop scene, which of course connects to character motivations. It's a really excellent scene.
I mean, I think that's what you can say about it, Dragon. Like, it wouldn't feel out of place in like a really good episode of Law and Order or something like that. You know what I mean?
And again, plays into that Gotham Central vibe, which is the show I've secretly wanted ever since Gotham was announced.
Right.
Let's see, back to the ring, I believe.
Okay,
yes, things are getting crazy.
I got lost in my notes a little bit.
So things are getting crazy as Tabitha tries to wake Butch up.
Okay, yeah, right. So let's see. So Selina's insisting that they have to leave. And Firefly, she makes a great grand appearance.
Oh yeah, man, the Firefly is such a stickler for the deadline, because even the fact that, hey, we have Nygma, well, it's past the deadline, which means you guys are barbecue.
4 courses of barbecue.
Oh yeah.
All right. So Grundy wakes up upon hearing Nygma's pleas.
Yep, and Grundy, again, I like that we introduce a weakness for Grundy. Now, I like this, and this is my reading on it. I like to read that Grundy actually might be impervious to fire, but he's afraid of it. That's what I was my reading.
I could see that.
Because he was lit on fire, and I think he was just freaking out, and that's Nygma put him out. I don't know if it was really... I mean, he said it was hot, but at the same time, he wasn't, like, writhing in pain. That's my take on it, but anyway, we'll see. I guess if he ever gets into a real fight with Firefly, we might find out. But I mean, I'm just factoring in zombie. He might be impervious to fire. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So I like that we establish his weakness for Grundy, that he is afraid of fire. So basically, now we know we're in trouble here. Okay, even the strongest guy here, he can't go against Firefly, so we're all in trouble. Selina tries to confront Firefly because, of course, they have history together. But also, this is a cool thing. Again, working in the history of Gotham here, Firefly was in the Narrows. She was in the worst part of Gotham. That's where she grew up. And
that was like season 2, right?
Yeah, season 2. Yeah.
And
she has a great analogy. In the Narrows, this place is a sewer. The only solution. The only way to get rid of the stink, you burn it. Which again, it's kind of a clever read on the Firefly character. I like that. I like kind of tying her into
I like how they're giving the Firefly characters like more one-liners. Like she's really kind of like I feel like she's a good kind of like avatar for the thesis statement of the series, which is seeing the villains become more and more comic-like as we go on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would like him to do a little bit more with Victor Freeze. Basically, because I think they did a really good job with this, just a little bit of screen time with Firefly. I mean, I know we've had Victor here and there, but usually it's like kind of the freezing gag. But I like to see him like get a few characters like this, because we're still unclear where we're going with Victor in this show. Not the.
Well, we're way more clear than where we're going with Harvey Dent. That's for sure.
Oh, poor Harvey. And you know what? I found this out recently. I was in disbelief.
And of course, we're in the long Halloween arc, but you still nowhere to be seen.
Poor Harvey Dent. But I found out something about the actor Tiki, Nicholas the August. He's in that show with John Lithgow, which feels it's.
Oh no!
And here's the thing, Tiki. Here's the unbelievable thing. This is the reason we're not going to see him this season. Aside from the obvious reason, but here's the other reason we're not going to see this season is. This show got renewed for another season. Unbelievable. I think he's trapped it. I think he's trapped against his will, because I remember watching the first episode or 2 of that show. It was not good.
Well, hey, at least the man's getting steady work.
Yeah, he's working with John Lithgow. So,
yeah, exactly.
There's always a silver lining. I mean, good for August, but again, it's like...
Sea Dragon, every cloud has a silver lining.
Yeah. All right, well, maybe one of these days, the August return. Anyway. we got at least one season left. We don't have any villains locked in yet. Let's bring them back. Let's make it the Harvey Dent season.
God. Okay.
At least give him a Scarecrow arc. Anyway. Okay. Get back on point here. So what saves the day, Tiki? Fireflies, they're all goners. However, will they get out of this perilous situation?
Oh, let me see. Well, Lee shoots at Firefly's canister, right?
Yes, and basically kind of jettisons her across the room, and he kind of knocks her out. So I thought it was kind of clever, shooting the tank.
Yeah.
Kind of pulling a Jaws defeat. That was nice.
Right.
Let's see. So Firefly's defeated, and then Lee reveals to the people of Narrows that Cherry is the Penguin's informant. Bum, bum, bum. So they're all about to turn on her. Then Cherry points out that, hey, Barbara, basically the sirens here, they all work for Penguin. And this is a cool way, to get rid of Cherry, I gotta say. I love Barbara just kind of shoots her point blank in the head.
Just point blank, like, you're dead. Like, no one ever liked you. gone. Bye-bye.
For me, Tiki, I know no way could it be a reference to this, but she played a character in the last. They finally gave prison. They did a revival of Prison Break to kind of give it yet another ending.
Oh God!
And then again, good show. Kind of lacks as it goes. It's kind of like a Heroes thing. The first 2 seasons are good, and then as it goes on. My point is, they had a character. Basically, she did a lot of horrific stuff, as we've seen in Prison Break before. We have these villain characters who just do terrible, things that you want to see them get a comeuppance. This to me felt a little cathartic. Or shoot her point blank in the head, man. Yeah, she played a real scumbag in that season. She was really, oh god, it's really evil. Anyway, so she shot point blank in the head, and basically, Barbara announces, "Hey, just want a little announcement. We quit working for the Penguin." Everyone's cheering. Yeah! All right, so Nygma's comforting Grundy, which means, okay, now Grundy's on Nygma's side, and again, he's in Grundy mode, not Butch, before Tabitha. And basically, they're going to get out of there before the crowd turns on them again, so Tabitha has to run before she can reach Butch yet again. So they all leave.
So, Dragon, I just want to point out the group we have going on. We have Lee, Babs, Tabitha, Grundy, Nygma. You know what this group is in Gotham right now?
What?
They're the goddamn Suicide Squad.
No, they're not the Suicide Squad.
I say that in a good way, Dragon. I'm saying, functionally within the plot, they're kind of the Suicide Squad right now.
I think I appreciate the attempt. I'm still not seeing this.
All right.
I appreciate it, though.
They're just like a group of misfits, all right?
Okay, in that regard, yeah, I kind of.
Yeah, they're a group of misfits, anyways.
No, I'll meet you halfway.
Okay, fair enough.
So the point is, with all this, everyone's looking to Lee, and Lee is the new leader. She's filled in Cherry's spot. She is the leader of the Narrows. As an idea, I really like that. The fact that she's. Well, we're going to get to a more specific line of it a little later on. The idea I'm gravitating towards.
Sure.
Okay. Oh God. Here we. Oh geez. Emmy scene.
All right. So Harvey is basically Gordon's catching up to him, and Harvey is saying, "Oh, I bet the cops were waiting to spit in my face."
Well, remember the great first line when he gets there. It says, "Oh, I'm just having a little drinky poo."
Little drinky poo. Yes.
And Bullock, he's still even in the most darkest despair of Bullock, we still have some great Bullockisms. Having a little drinky poo. You want one?
Basically Gordon's saying, look, even if they wanted to spit in your face, you owed it to each and every one of them to look them in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
And if you'd have done that, then maybe you could have gotten their respect, and then maybe you could have moved on.
Yes, and then we have this great thing in Bullock says, he hates that part of the job, and then basically Jim has the great line, "That is the job." That's the job. And of course, Bullock kind of comes at it with, "Though now you're telling me what the job is," and Jim's not shying away here. And now, Tika, this is where I think the episode, again, you and I speculated on this in the previous episode. I think we were partially right in that. Bear in mind, 2 episodes ago, that's where we're completely off base, the whole Tommy Elliott thing. But I mean, when we amended that, stop hitting yourself reflecting other themes in the episode. Stop hitting yourself quite literally.
You're right. We did kind of amend that, yeah.
And with the Grundy thing, of course, that's
I did kind of say that Bullock was going to beat himself up about it. Right.
We have that, and here's the thing that's kind of occurring to me, T. I think Jim has a lot of that in this episode too, where he's kind of stopped. I think in part Jim's not hitting himself for I'm in a position of taking my friend's my best friend's job. But in this case, he's just kind of stopped. The buck stops here. Where he's saying, I'm going to stop. Kind of I can't do this book. He is in really bad shape right now. I'm going to defend basically my stance, and I should have this job. Essentially, is what he's doing. Jim has stopped beating himself up in this scene. So yeah, we're basically Jim realizes in this scene. This I think is so well written here. Jim realizes that Bullock isn't fit to be captain anymore. And again, Bullock knows it. I mean, Bullock in this scene is in despair. And that's where I think the tragedy lies with all this, Tiki, is that I love how we knew this was coming ever since day one of this show. We knew eventually at some point. Since day one of Bullock's promotion, deep down since the day one of the show.
It was almost the thesis statement of Gordon Bullock's dynamic was that this was eventually going to happen.
Because again, we were looking forward to way back when. Of course, we know one of these days, okay, Jim's going to be commissioner, if not, get a promotion as the seasons go on. And then, of course, as Bullock became captain, we knew this eventually. This was coming. We never we never thought it was going to be such kind of a dark kind of a transitioning point. We never knew this stuff was coming, and I love we forgot about it long enough. We were just enjoying Bullock being captain. We're like, hey, Bullock's captain. You forgot about it long enough to where it comes back in a big way here.
Right.
And it's just, of course, it's that tragedy of Bullock backpedaling to season 1 in the face of crisis and corruption, as we went through, and again, I think Jim he hates how this hurts Bullock. He hates how this hurts Bullock in part. While Jim hates how this hurts Bullock, what he's about to do here, basically, he's about to take the job, and just in general, like he hates how Bullock is just beating himself up in the guilt that he is feeling here, and at the same time, Jim thinks that he's helping Bullock in a way here. I love that read on it. I love the read that Jim is seeing it somewhat as a mercy for Bullock, because Bullock just isn't cut out for leadership. It's not a betrayal. Bullock isn't cut out for leadership. I'm just going to do my friend a mercy by taking away some of that guilt of like leadership and responsibility. It's going to put him in this position constantly. It's like Gordon's taking on that burden for his friend. I love that element of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of between the lines, but I love that it's there. And he sees that Sofia's right, and Gotham needs, again, whether Gordon likes it or not, because Gordon, we know, wants this, and Gordon feels he's the guy for the job. I just love that Gordon is seeing, again, this is the earned kind of thing we've been saying with the cops kind of seeing that Gordon's right. Everyone throughout the series has been seeing that Gordon is just right for the job. At this point, Gordon not wanting, not necessarily, begging for the job, but just seeing that Gotham needs Jim in this job, not Bullock. Of course, then he says, he got a pen, And then there's Bullock's reaction to it. Now, Donald Logue's reaction to it, this is the heartbreaking, this is the big poignant punctuation to the whole episode here, where Bullock says,
yeah, this is a great moment, especially the way it's built up throughout the episode, because as you said, we see Gordon holding onto the paper throughout the whole thing.
I love the music in this scene too. It's so haunting. It's like that minute where the tension's all, when we reach that crescendo of tension, where basically it's like we're hanging in the air while like little balls kind of vibrating in the air. Just like your the spine tingle, like the goosebump feeling is like in the air during this scene where Bullock he's calling Jim out, because again Bullock feels betrayed, but at the same time, again, it is a mercy to him because he doesn't want this job anymore. But at the same time, he feels like Gordon has gone a little bit behind his back, and he feels that his friend doesn't have faith in him in this scene where he says, look who finally got what he always wanted, because he knows Jim wanted this ever since the beginning. He knows he wanted it. Where it's just this bitter moment that follows, where Bullock passes the burden of Gotham onto Jim with a warning. He gives him that bitter warning where he says, how did you get the job? I earned it. It says, nothing in Gotham is free. It's a great line that, again, it harkens back to that season 1 thing where Bullock was the experienced cop in Gotham, educating Jim, where nothing in Gotham is free. The bill will come due. It's like, oh God, that's great. Yeah, of course, again, anyway, yeah. So yeah, Jim is we have that bitter shot where Jim's alone in the office without his friend as Bullock has walked out. It's a tragedy of a scene in the best of ways. So stabbing lessons.
So you see, the important thing is that you drive the blade under the ribs and into the heart.
Of how horrified Sophia is when she walks in.
Oh God! And then of course Penn comes in with more urgent matters. Let's see. Miss Keene and Associates failed to retrieve Nygma, and Firefly is disabled. And then there's more. There's more.
Jim Gordon has been promoted to the ranks of captain.
And then Oswald is just crestfallen.
I love
this. That's quite a lot to go wrong in one day.
I love how restrained he is for Sophia's benefit, but at the same time, I just love that it's so restrained, but at the same time, he's still voicing all the frustration he's feeling.
Like, you can totally see he's about to crack. He's not fooling anyone, even though he is keeping it together.
But I love the cleverness, though, where Penn was just, he's still, while he is angry, he's super angry. I love that you can see that he is actually he's connecting the dots in the scene as he is saying that. That's a lot. He's just pointing out the logic thing here. That's an awfully lot to go wrong. in one day. As in, that's no coincidence, essentially, is what he's saying there. And which leads to the suspicion on Sofia as she leaves, where he asks a little reminder from Martine. Remember that lesson about friendship, Martine? Of course, we see a stick figure. It's a great stick figure, by the way, of like these two stick figures hugging with like holding a knife behind their backs, like about to stab. I love it's like they're about to stab. Okay. And of course, this is the kind of the parable of the episode. Tiki, we saw a bit of like Gordon somewhat had to stab Bullock in the back. He didn't. Again, it wasn't like at a mouse, but
you're right. You're right. The whole backstabbing thing is kind of one of the like, I think backstabbing and then like beating yourself up both physically and mentally. Yeah. It's all like self-mutilation in some form or another. Dragon is definitely the running theme of the episode, and I love how many different interpretations we have of that.
Oh yeah, so really solid with the thematicism of this.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, then we have this really nice bit, and this is the dynamic I'm really looking forward to if they can keep this up, Tiki. We have Nygma congratulating Lee for the initiative as the Bear's leader. Because remember, in the previous episode, Nygma
Dragon and I always liked Nygma and Lee together. Even back in the season 2 days, like look at us, these nice couples having dinner together. Yeah, I was all for that.
Yeah, it's really great. Nygma congratulating Lee for the initiative, because in the previous episode, like, they both kind of had this moment of kind of joint cowardice where they said, "Hey, I'm not becoming leader." It says, neither. Basically, they both say, we're going to keep our heads in the sand. Neither of us are cut out for leader. Where and Nygma has this great line where he says, he points out to her, and I love his like, "Okay, come on, Lee. I'm supposed to be the stupid one here. I mean, I'm the dumb one here, not you." And he basically has this great little line where he says, "You heal their children, you stitch up their warriors, you slayed the fire-breathing dragon, being Firefly, and you toppled their queen." Again, that's just like that connects to kind of that Scott Snydering kind of like equating kind of these little moments to kind of like it's royalty. It's kind of like we're going back to kind of the days of manners and royalty, kind of that rich history of Gotham and kind of the royal family kind of comparison. So I love that in there. Sure. But Nygma's saying, now, is this the fact that Nygma is now mentoring Lee in how to be a leader, which that's a dynamic I'm really interested to see. And this Lee genuinely asking him, what should I say? Because they're all waiting on the pins and needles. Like, what's Lee going to say? What's our new leader going to say? What do I say? Just go with it. Give him something. Basically, give him something good. Give him something they want to hear. Drinks on the house. Yeah! And they all go to the roof and they're saying, "Where are the drinks?" No, that's a Muppet movie reference anyway.
Dragon, that was a great moment, though. Seriously, that was very well played.
I know. If they can keep that up, I'm so in for this new kind of Nygma Lee mentor. Again, we had mentorship with Penguin and Martine, mentorship with Nygma and Lee.
Oh God.
Could be good. All right, so now we have Jim and Sofia here. Nice little scene here. Basically, Jim refused. He shows up at Sophia's house again. She assumes, "Hey, victory drink." And of course, Jim took no pleasure in what happened in the book. So Jim refuses to be Sophia's puppet. And I love that Jim can see the strings here. Jim sees, okay, Sophia's definitely manipulating people. You can manipulate Penguin all you want, not me. Right. And she says, "Look, Jim, you're not a puppet. You're my partner in this." And of course, after she used the wrong word after what he said in the book. And she says, "Look, you did what you had to for Bullock, and you wanted my help. This is what my help looks like." And again, Jim had to make a compromise, and that's yet another thing that in the undercurrent of that Bullock scene that the bill will come due. Jim had to make a compromise to get the job, but it was a compromise for the greater good of Gotham. So it's a mixed bag, and one of those mixed bags that's going to link Gordon to Gotham until the end of time. It's like he's always going to be kind of in more than you get out, which Bullock has warned him about in previous seasons. So just that said, again, Jim knew what he was bargaining for, but he did not know. He should have had an idea what he was bargaining for. So, he suggests knowing that, becoming horrified by that notion, he's inviting her to leave Gotham. You should leave Gotham. Yeah, you did what you wanted. You did what you were asked here to do. You should leave. And she says, "I'm here to restore the Falcone name." She invites Jim in for a drink. Basically, again, like, you can be complicit or not, and Jim does not go in.
You wanted a gangster to help get rid of Penguin? This is what that help looks like.
Absolutely. So
I love this again, because it's a classic kind of like, what have I done? I've created a monster.
Oh yeah, it's like one step forward, two steps back for Jim Gordon.
Uh,
So yeah, it's a great shot too. Like Jim, I love that he went up there, and again, he did not go in, but he went up there, and Sophia's a little disappointed by it. So he walks out, and the gates close as Gordon leaves the line. It's a good shot, and that's where the episode ends.
Okay.
Okay, promo.
Yes, so I didn't see it, so go ahead and fill me in, Dragon.
I keep forgetting you never watched the promos, do you?
No, I never do.
Okay. No fun observation anyway. So Alfred, we have Alfred and Bruce in the next episode, Tiki.
Okay, good.
Alfred's warning Bruce that Bruce is in danger. Mainly, it's like a philosophical danger to himself. That's kind of the vibe I got from him. Basically, Alfred's warning that Bruce is in danger and needs to remember who he is. Bruce, of course, is confronting Alfred. So, I know who I am, Alfred. Pig, meanwhile, the Big Pig episode, Big Pig payoff, this next one. Pig is hosting a dinner of Gotham's elite, which includes Penguin and Sofia.
Ooh, okay.
He stabs Sofia in the hand. It's basically a dinner. There's a big vibe of a dinner of horrors and death. A lot of times there's some dead bodies at the table. There's like a lot of horrific stuff that gets obscured with some fast cuts. And the last line, to my understanding of it, is Pig having a line, most likely to Gordon, but he's having a line where he's saying, you coursed yourself on the city's heart. Now you're going to die. And he tosses, and this is a great thing. It's from the Arkham games, by the way. And I love this. He tosses a meat cleaver at Gordon, and Gordon dodges it at the last second. It's a great shot. Because in the game as Batman, you would have to dodge him or kind of catch the knives as he would throw them at you, and it's like, oh, it was a cool bit. So yeah, it's neat.
Cool.
All right, so that's a promo. That's all we know. Of course, the next episode is called "Let Them Eat Pie."
Yes. I don't really have a ton of spec, Dragon. I haven't really had a lot of time to think about it, so.
Well, I don't have a lot. I just have, because again, pie is kind of hard to approximate. But
well, I mean, if you want to think about it, like it's obviously a French Revolution quote, so maybe it's kind of like, some sort of.
I didn't. I'm embarrassed. I didn't think of that. I think it's a really good point.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's obviously where the quote comes from.
I'm saying the whole "let them eat pies."
Yeah.
A revolution in Gotham. That's the.
Right.
Well, I definitely there's a thing I'm going to try to call here. I'm definitely getting a Death of the Family meets Year One. It's basically remember the big dinner scene from Year One where Batman pops into dinner with Falcone and the Loeb, and everyone says you feasted on Gotham's soul. Now you're basically he spooks all the elite in Gotham. I'm getting a lot of that mixed with kind of a dinner of horrors like Death of the Family, the big build to the Death of the Family story, the Batman family and Joker kind of, let's just say, terrifying them.
Yeah, I could see where you're going with that. Yeah,
I'm getting kind of like a combo of that for the next episode. I think Bruce is. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find my bearings here. Well, I think what we're going to see in the next episode is, at least not for a lot of it. I think the threat that Alfred's warning Bruce about. I think we're going to see through kind of Bruce and Tommy Elliott's friendship developing a little bit.
Do you think that maybe Alfred's going to be worried about Bruce falling in with the wrong crowd, potentially?
Potentially, yes. And what I think we're going to do is, I'm not saying we're going to do like a whole lot of that with Bruce and Elliot. What I think we're definitely going to see is like Bruce and Tommy kind of at the beginning kind of partying around and stuff. And that's just kind of as an example, the bad behavior Alfred's worried about.
Because they're just two wild and crazy guys.
Yep. So I think we're going to get an example of that. And basically, we're going to show kind of the dynamic and what's going to feed Elliot's kind of his downward spiral in that scene. And then Alfred's going to, like in a later scene, he's going to call him Bruce on that sort of thing. Like, hey, you got to get out of this.
Yeah.
Bruce. Let's see. All right. In the next episode, the whole. Here's where I was going with that. I think Bruce's identity arc is going to be the B story of that, where basically it's this whole dinner is going to be about
because keep in mind we still have that lingering scene where he basically admitted to everyone like, yeah, I used to fight, I used to be a vigilante, no biggie.
Sure, and what I mean is I think it's going to be a B story that complements the main story of again kind of like Death of the Family. It's basically a dinner of this is the whole like kind of Death Family or Year One kind of dinner, either or wherever you pick is basically. I think it's going to be Pig showing Gotham like their corrupt true selves and confronting them with that. And I think the B story correlating with that is going to be Bruce facing, who he is and like, how he has to kind of get over this funk and how he has to kind of be true to him. It basically get Bruce's identity with the people facing what their identities are.
Right, right.
Let's see. I think Sophia's going to respect Jim after Jim saves her from this thing. Because we know Sophia's going to be in trouble, and that kind of dispels the rumors that Sophia and Pig are in league with each other. Unless she's crazy enough to let herself get stabbed. I mean, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think my big theory is that I think the Penguin licenses are going to end after this Pig dinner. Honestly, that's my prediction. I think we're going to end the license thing after basically Pig is going to be the big force that's going to confront Penguin with his licenses, and Penguin just after the aftermath.
I definitely think we're leaning more towards legitimizing the GCPD again. So yeah, I think you're on point with that.
Yeah, I kind of like attaching all that to the Pig characters, which I think that could bear some fruit.
Sure.
Now, okay, we have an episode title. This is the last thing I really have is that we have an episode title after that.
Okay.
The episode after Let Them Eat Pie is Things That Go Boom.
Oh boy.
Things That Go Boom. I don't have a lot.
Where's Bane? I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
Anyway, I think it's going to be a Riddler episode about getting his mind back.
Okay.
Based on the title, just sounding really simplistic, it makes me think that's going to be like a gag in that,
We'll see. All
right.
All right. So, final thoughts, Dragon. I will go first. Yeah, I thought this episode was, a very solid addition to the season. Kind of got us a nice. But what I liked about it, Dragon, was how.
Hello. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. A minor little slip. He'll be back momentarily. Anyway, yeah, I guess I'm going to vamp for a second. But, all right. I'll take you through my final thoughts real quick here. So, on the whole, it feels like, for me, this episode feels like a Gotham Central story, and I love it. I really do. Again, I don't know if everyone's going to like this episode because there's not a lot of Bruce Wayne in it, but for me, I really liked it. One, for that Gotham Central stuff, but also for the fact, it's a great story about kind of the tragedy of Jim and Bullock's kind of relationship deteriorating in kind of this arc of progress for the two of them, the legitimacy of the GCPD at the cost of their friendship, at least for a spell. I'm still marveling at Sophia. We got a lot of great elements that are coming together this episode. We have some kind of a fun side story with the Grundy stuff that kind of gets our A story title. But yeah, I think we have some. I think it's a story really rich in character and in storytelling and kind of paying off a lot of stuff. As this season's been really strong in paying off a lot of stuff. It's been a strong start to a season. This one for me is so far might be my personal favorite going into the season. We've had a lot of good ones though, so it's really hard for me to definitively say that. So so far I'm on board for the lead story. This episode's really winning me over. It's really touching on a lot of stuff I've had hopes for in this show, and again, season 4 it's been kicking off to a really good start. And again, this episode kind of eclipses like kind of the what if of a Gotham Central show, but at the same time, it's just rolling with what it has now and kind of getting us to a point where we can have our cake and eat it too. I should say have our pie and eat it too, but that's next episode. But it had me. Even the last episode, it kind of had me with the "You're one of the good ones, Jim" sequence, and here's all the Jim Bullock stuff. Is just it's heartbreaking. It's so real. Donald Logan, Ben McKenzie are having such a great performance. We're having some kind of good dynamics turn with Barbara and Lee without kind of having some forced stuff we had last season. And again, whenever we kind of poo-poo last season, I want to make it clear. I really like the last season. Just the Lee stuff again is dropping the ball. But if you're approximately 8 episodes in this season, you probably know that by now. Right. Well, folks, I'll just say no. I'm kind of vamping for a moment here, but if you guys ever want to share what you think of the show, or what you'd like us to talk about, or anything any characters you want us to weigh in on, yes, Tiki.
Hey, did you hear any of my final thoughts before I dropped out?
You were about to start your final thoughts, and I just took us through mine, so you're going to, I guess, end this out in the final thoughts. But again, real quick,
I will
again,
end out on the final thoughts that I literally just said to myself. Sounds good. Sounds good.
But again, folks, anything you want us to talk about or kind of center on, you guys want to contribute, leave it in the comments.
All right, folks. So, yes, I thought this episode was, it was very good for the most part, Dragon. I thought the best part of the episode was the way it focused its attention. I thought every character got a really good amount of screen time. It didn't really feel like we drew out any storylines for longer than they needed to be drawn out. And by the same token, I didn't feel like any characters got shafted in the process. I felt like we had a great kind of emotional side of things with Gordon and Bullock, and a more silly side of things with the, with the Butch and Nygma and crew. So overall, I thought it was really solid. It really held its own.
All right.
And that's about it. All right, Dragon, take us out.
Remember, kids, no matter how dark and scary the world might be right now, there will be light. There will be light.
Until next time, when we go exploring Gotham yet again. Grundy kill!